someone whose knowledge, someone whose wisdom, someone who truly engages the students so they can engage with the material themselves. And that is why it's my distinct pleasure to announce Professor Rick Org as voted by UCSD students across campus as Professor Extraordinaire. Now, interestingly, Professor Org has been on both sides of the lecture hall, actually, at UCSD. He received his master's in computer science from UCSD, and since 1991 has been a lecturer here. In fact, during that time, he's received over 12 teaching awards, and has taught classes ranging from, I believe, the intro to computer information technology, all the way up to compiler construction. So as a result, tonight, I'm very excited that to an audience I know is filled with students who've been inspired and taught by Professor Org, including myself, that we will be hearing his legacy lecture. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Professor Rick Org to the stage.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm neither a professor nor anybody who's actually, got a lot of information, because I'm just a regular person, just like most of you. So they asked me about doing this, and unfortunately, almost at the same time, at 7 p.m., I want everybody to go over, or shortly after 7 p.m., go over to CSE 1202 to see Sanjoy Dasgupta's talk, and he's also going to talk about the new data science major. So this is a little plug for him. So, as most things are, I get an email, one of the thousands of emails I get, and somebody says, hey, would you be available on this day? And in the past, I used to just ignore them, and now I just say, well, maybe. And then all of a sudden they say, guess what, show up and give a talk. So today I made up a talk, and I'm going to try to go through it fast enough so that we can actually get out of here on time. But it was actually very fun doing this. So I told somebody, I'm needing to do a legacy talk. And I actually tried to say legacy, but it was someone who is not a native English speaker, and she thought I said Legolas. So no, this is not a Legolas lecture. She was so excited. She was I'm going to talk to all my friends who we love Legolas. So I don't know if you're here, but no, this is not a Legolas lecture. So I actually have to look up what legacy meant, and here's the definition. Now let me read it. So the obsolete part and superseded part, I think, is definitely me, and difficult to replace because in wide use, well, that might be me too. And this is one of my many comics that I have about that. So I also talked to people and said, okay, this is what they want me to talk about. They go, shit my dad says. No, so this is going to be shit I say, Rick says. And some of it may be true, some of it may not be, some of it may be things that you've heard many times before, but it's just what I put together today after a bunch of people doing these. Because if it was my last lecture, I probably wouldn't even be here. But that's the way it is. And I told a couple of my friends on campus, and they said, oh, well, you definitely have to, if this is your last lecture, then you got to go pre-gaming. So we've been pre-gaming for a while. But the reality is no one actually listens to me. And it starts with my cats. My cats don't listen to me, my family, the students. No, definitely the department doesn't listen to me. But we'll see how it goes. So I used to, and I still do, in the middle of papers. When I was a grad student, I was notorious for all these papers that we had to write. In the middle of a paragraph, in the middle of the paper, I would say, let me know if you're actually reading this. No one ever got back to me. There were these long email trails, and I hate long emails. But for the longest time when I was the manager of CSE Help, there would be all these long emails, literally in the middle of a paragraph, in the middle of some diatribe. I'd say, let me know if you're reading this. Literally no So no one actually reads what you send. No one reads your papers. At least no one's read my papers that I've read, because no one's ever said, oh yeah, I saw that line in the middle of a paragraph in the middle of your paper. So I have to say that a lot of what I do goes back to my experience as a Unix sysadmin, because nobody listens to you if you're a Unix sysadmin anyway. They always say, you know, when things are running smooth, why are we paying you? Why are you here? You know, what are you doing? And they don't understand all the stuff that we're doing in the background to make things work smoothly, so it looks like the users, you know, everything's running smooth. And of course, when everything is broken, they say the exact same thing. And basically, it was a thankless job. And that helped me become a teacher, because being a teacher is a thankless job. It really is, because you know that all the students, especially in computer science, that are going off and graduating, it's great, 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 but you know at the same time you see, oh my God, they're all going to be making way more money than I am. And that's a good thing. It's not necessarily thankless, but you need to learn, you know, some self-gratification, some self-satisfaction, and that's helped a lot. I used to come out of lectures all the time and say, oh man, I just kicked ass. This was like the best class ever, and no one would be around. Yet other times I'd come out of class and I'm going, you know, this wasn't that good. You know, I could have done way better. And all these students around going, oh my God, that was just the best class ever. I'm going, what do you know? It was terrible. So you need to become your own worst and also best critic. So do capes. I encourage everybody to do capes, but a long, long time ago I stopped looking at capes, because you'd see these reviews and it says great, 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 great sucks. Great, 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 great sucks. Great, 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 great. And at night, my eyes are open, I'm going, you know, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, what are these two sucks? You know, you don't listen about all the grades, all you think about is a bad thing. So now I never look at my capes. I never look at my capes. So please do the capes, but don't expect me to look at it. Somebody else will, and my job kind of, and most other people's jobs kind of, you know, depend on it, but I don't look at that. So anyway, but I will give it a try of saying some things that I think are okay. So first of all, the first and the very most important is that, yeah, I think it's ridiculous that students have to pay to go to college. Students should get paid to go to college. And their pay is based on the level of classes that they take, and the GPA, and the grades that they get. This is ridiculous that you have to pay. How in the hell did I fall into a job where people are willing to come and borrow money? The federal government is willing to borrow, lend money to all these people for the services that we provide, you know, the content that we provide. There's all these competing services out there, like online courses, yet every year there's more and more people that want to come to us. I don't get it. We should pay you, you shouldn't have to pay. First of all, there's no crying in computer science. I learned a long time ago to get rid of any Kleenex in my office because I was using it too much. Students would come in and start crying in my office. There is no crying in computer science, just like there's no crying in baseball. There's no guessing. I say, okay, so what's this answer? So, well, it's either a 0 or a 1. I'm going, yeah, but you don't guess. I mean, you know, what's the answer? There's no guess. And that's the beauty of computer science, is it's either right or it's wrong. This is one of the great things about computer science. You're either right or wrong. If you're right, that's great, but understand why you were right. If you're wrong, that's okay. Learn from it, but understand why you're wrong and why you need to be right. And actually, no one cares what grade you get in a particular class. The best math class I ever took was the one I dropped with a W in week 9. Oh, I love W's. No one has ever asked me what grade I got in any class that they've asked me to teach. No one's going to care. From grade school all the way through college, all you are is focused on grades. No one cares. No one cares. When your grandchildren say, oh, what grade did you get in CSE 30? Why? Just why? You know, the online stuff with your grades is going to be obsolete, and you know, they won't be able to tell. So it's lies. So it doesn't matter. Ask other faculty if they've ever dropped a class or did not do well in a class. I'm sure they will all say yes on something. And what do you call the person who graduates last in their medical school class? Doctor, exactly. It doesn't matter. As long as you graduate, it just doesn't matter. Start early and start off. How many people have heard me say that before? Oh, yeah. Start early, start off indefinitely. So everything takes longer than you think, and that's the way it is. And this all goes back to some sayings that I remember my parents, my grandparents saying. Things like, oh, the early bird gets the worm. I go, oh, no, that doesn't apply to me. Oh, yes, it does. Everything applies to you. Especially if your program works. It's got a latent bug in it. Oh, you're so unlucky. Just because it works. I used to think there was one time, only one time ever, I was using UCSD Pascal. I wrote this program, it compiled, and it worked the very first time. I was singing and dancing. I'm going, oh man, I am God's gift to programming. Oh God, I was so stupid. I was so stupid back then. You're completely unlucky because you don't learn anything, especially if there's a latent bug, because you tested it with one input as opposed to all the inputs that you have. And again, you can't blame anyone or anything other than your own code, your own non-understanding of APIs, your misunderstanding of things. Everything is always your fault. So I used to blame sunspots and, oh, I'm looking too close to the ocean, all these other things. And VDD, what does VDD stand for? Thank you. Visual debugging is way better than GDB any day. So you need to do things where actually look at code and go, this doesn't look right. This just doesn't look right. Just like experienced drivers. Experienced drivers, when you're driving, you go, oh, something doesn't look right. Like somebody is at an intersection and they're not looking at you. Look at things. It just doesn't look right. Think about it, and really the reality is that that's way more important than using some tool. Perseverance is definitely key. This is one of my favorite quotes. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Does anyone know where this is from? Is Tenaire really the only?
I know too.
Yeah. Oh, Nick, okay. So old guys rule. Has no one seen this movie? Animal House. Oh my God, if you're a college student, you've got to see this. This is like the epitome of college. Road trips. Oh my God, Dean Wormer. This is Bluto, John Belushi. So of course, after he said this, somebody looked at somebody else and said, Germans? He says, he's on a roll, let him roll. But this is perseverance. How long did it take you? How many years and years and years did it take you to learn how to walk and talk and read and write and ride a bicycle or anything else? So it kills me that people will not spend like 20 seconds, none less 20 minutes to try to figure out how to understand something, where that 20 minutes or 30 minutes or however long it takes will last you a lifetime. Don't shortcut yourself. Perseverance is really the key. I get emails all the time from students who say, oh my God, thank you so much. I persevered, and 10 years later, I'm actually doing something valuable, and my parents actually like me now. So. You gotta know your CSE 21. So a long time ago, I was asked to teach CSE 21. I go, no, I'm a bits and bytes guy. This is discrete math. I hated it when I took it, and I've never used it since then. But actually, it's helped a lot in Vegas. So everybody goes to Vegas at some point in their life because we live very close to Vegas. So you got to understand that most casino games are negative expectations. So you look at the expectations. There are no professional Keno players. There are no professional roulette players. There are no professional slot machine or Pai-Gow poker or anything else, players in there. The reality is that you are in and out, and you need to use good probability. So I used to play blackjack until they changed the rules. It used to be that the dealer would always stay on any 17, including soft 17. Now they hit a soft 17. Oh, that makes it way more against the player and more in the house's favor. A lot of the strip casinos now on a blackjack only pay 6 to 5 instead of 3 to 2. Kills your odds. So craps is the way to go. Craps is so much fun. I used to love blackjack, but now it's all craps. And if you want to know how to play craps, come and see me some other time. So there's been plenty of times when I've had a real use to go to Vegas, not necessarily for CSE 21 probability. So I made up a rudimentary for CSE 11 in Java. I had this slot machine game. And it just looked so sterile and artificial. So I went to Vegas and I'm going around and I found this blue-haired lady. She's got like a cigarette in one hand and a cocktail in the other. And I'm watching her playing an old-style slot machine. I'm watching and figuring out, okay, so each of the wheels are actually spinning at a different rate. And the first one stops, then the second, then the third, the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat, then the third one. And a couple other features that I was watching in there doing this. So I'm standing behind her watching, and then all of a sudden she turns around and she notices me, and then she turns around again and turns around a few other times, and I'm actually making notes of what's going on as she's playing. And she goes, son, real raspy word, son, you're messing with my mojo. What are you doing? I go, well, I'm trying to write a program to do this. Oh, she was like oblivious to all that. And then all of a sudden she won. As I was walking away, she goes, where are you going? Sit down right next to me. So I had to sit there for about an hour, drinking cocktails with her, doing secondhand smoke. But anyway, make sure you tip. Oh, so I used to be a bartender for a long time. Anybody that's in the service industry always tip. They'd say, so tipping dealers, tipping waitresses, tipping people in Vegas, what does that have to do with 21? Let me tell you, you tip the dealers, tip them early, tip them often. They're standing there, 7 days a week, 8 hours a day. They are bored. They know exactly which cards have been played, which cards have not been played. They know exactly what are the best number of chips to pay off for particular odds on a particular bet on slots, and they will help you. I have had so many times where I'm sitting there thinking, especially back in the days when I was playing blackjack, should I take a hit or not? And the dealer either gives me a hit or passes me and goes, because the dealer knows exactly what cards are left, whether I should take a hit or not. So they can help you a lot. This is where it's not just probability, it's having the dealer, waitresses. No, the waitresses right away, you say, oh, remember me in 10 minutes. And, after about 3 hours, you've made up more of your drinks than what you've lost in the gambling. So definitely tip everyone. And someone once said, oh my gosh, there's a casino. Like, it's only 3 blocks away, it's only 3 casinos away. Well, it's going to take you an hour and a half to get there. Because those blocks are long. If you ever go to Vegas, do not say, oh, let's just walk. It looks like 5 blocks away. 2 days later, you're going to and all sorts of probability that we used to look at when I taught CSE 21, like disk drive failures. There used to be people that were paid to check for disk drives and disk drive failures. Oh, they figured out once they learned CSE 21 probability that it was not worth their while to actually check it. Guess who checks for disk drive failures now? All of you. It's way cheaper for them to send you a disk drive and say, oh, it doesn't work? Send it back. We'll replace it. We're good customer service. Oh, it's way cheaper for them instead of you doing it. Universal AIDS testing. So there's been an effort for that. If you actually look at the probability and the error, what seems like a small error, false positive outcomes for universal AIDS is stupid. It's stupid. Half of the country would be tagged as being positive for AIDS. Don't do it. Just don't do it. I don't care whether you have AIDS or not. It's the probability says don't do it. Okay, so what are the odds? So this is from Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was, I used to show this in CSE 20. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was a governor. And what are the odds that the first character of each line would be each of those? Well, it's 26 times 26 times 26 times. Well, something tells me that this was not by accident. Okay. So the gubernator comes through again. So this is actually a real letter from Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was governor. So we used to do that. And again, proved by induction. So there's base case, inductive hypothesis, and inductive step. So I used to call it BC, inductive hypothesis and inductive step. This is how I used to abbreviate. And I used to say, well, BC, because it's true that the base case is true with a direct proof. I hope that inductive hypothesis is true for some arbitrary k greater than the base case. And then it is true for any k plus 1 or k minus 1 for all k in there. And again, when I was asked to teach 21 the very first time, I went to Paul Kube and I said, you know, I haven't had to use any of this stuff since I took it when I was taking these undergrad classes. And he goes, well, you're going to be using it now, aren't you? So maybe the only time you'll ever use some of this stuff is if you actually teach it. So be aware of that. So everything goes in cycles, so nothing lasts forever. This is actually very true. A friend told me this a long time ago when I was in CSE Health. I'm going, oh my God, I've got the dream team, everything is great. I was at a party, they go, you should take pictures, you should just sit back and take mental images of what's going on because it's not gonna last forever. Oh, no, my team is great. He was absolutely correct. Nothing good lasts forever, so enjoy it while you can. Definitely no good deed goes unpunished. I gave a gift deed to a student who was trying to graduate in spring quarter in compilers. I gave him a gift deed. I got so much grief from so many people on campus that this person who got a deed couldn't graduate. They said my course was too hard. It was undoable. All this other stuff. And I went back and looked and said, oh, I gave this person a gift deed. You should have gotten an F. And that's when I learned that, you know, you can't graduate if you have less than a 2.0 GPA, and this person I gave a gift D to had less than a 2.0 GPA. Of course, they blame compilers, but for the last 4 years, he's been getting nothing but C minuses and D's, so it's not my class. So really, you gotta be careful when you do good deeds because it always doesn't. And always think that, oh, none of this stuff applies to me. I remember my parents, my grandparents telling me all sorts of stuff, like, oh, no, I'm different. This stuff doesn't apply to me. No. The reality is everything applies to you. And the reality is also that life is really a combination of both skill and luck. Look at the Olympic player, you know, who is like excelling in their Olympic sport during an Olympic year. They get on the box of Wheaties, they get all these endorsements and all. Well, guess what? What if they peaked 2 years earlier? In a non-Olympic year, in the middle, between Olympics. You've never heard of them before. So being in the right place at the right time, serendipity means a lot. So you have to be both lucky and good all at the same time. Oh, please learn to drive. How many people know how to drive a stick shift? Oh, well, at least a few, good. At least, if nothing else, teach your children how to drive a stick shift. You go, oh, well, there'll be self-driving, cars by then. Teach them how to drive a stick shift. You should all learn how to drive a stick shift. I've said this before, no high people in low places. So these are not necessarily low places, but perceived low places by people who are just assholes. Okay. Housekeeping staff, janitorial staff, all these people, you need to be friends with them. When you run out of toilet paper, they are your best friend. And if you know them and say, oh, we're out of toilet paper, oh, here, have a case, all these people. We were at the Facebook last summer, and we were giving some beers to the janitorial people there, and they let us in that says, Mark Zuckerberg only. Nobody can enter. Oh, we're in there. They got the master key. Are you kidding? Those are the people that you need to know. Bartenders, waitresses, casino dealers that I kind of talked about before. Whenever you go to work, wherever you go, make sure you make friends with all the non-technical staff that are there. All the administrative staff and everybody else. They will cover your ass. they will make your life pleasant. If you know them, be kind to them. Just bring in, some C's candy or cake or something every while. Just treat them like your peers. They will make your life so much better. Mechanics, plumbers, nurses, recruiters. Oh my God. Oh, look at this. Oh, Marion Daly. So, not too many people see pictures like this, but they just buy you beer. They buy you. And this picture over here, this is our new recruiter here going, hey. So this was a CSE day one year ago. And I got in trouble for that because all these people from Google came over and we decided to do, a little dinner over at Round Table. Meanwhile, they were having a dinner over at CSE Day, dinner with, the industry. And everybody is emailing and texting and saying, where are the Google people? Where are the Google people? Well, they were over with me, doing some posting. And I kind of got in a little trouble. Even the chair kind of talked to me. And when the chair talks to me, it's, when Rajesh gets just a little peeved, he goes, I even heard it from one of the vice chancellors that you took the Google people over there. Well, that's just what we do. They didn't know it. I didn't know it either, but, again, sysadmins. One of the reasons I love Taner and Todd and all these other people I go to lunch with on Wednesday is that sysadmins are the best. You want to make friends with all the systems administrators at whatever company you go to. They can make your life so much better, so many things right. Roundtable staff. Oh, do they take good care of us? And again, us lowly lectures. Get to know us versus, other people like the chancellor and vice chancellors, and we can't even, know what their titles are. So definitely know this. And regrets. The thing that I found is that I regret more things that I did not do versus things that I did do. Okay, so like for this, student org asked me to do something, just do it. Just do it. Just jump in, dive into it first. In fact, how I first started my first class, the first class I taught was at UCSD Extension. And they asked me to teach a class. I go, okay. And it wasn't until about 4 days later that I found out what the class was. I didn't even know what it was. It was Unix internals and device drivers. Oh my God, it was the hardest class ever. I probably made less than a half a cent an hour the amount of time that I spent on it. But I was Unix admin back in the day. Back in the day you get source code for everything. So it was great because I ended up finding a lot of kernel bugs and other things by teaching that. Especially when the chair says do something, I ask you to do something, and then you usually say yes. Otherwise, exit with a -1. No. And this goes back to the old phrase, God helps those who help themselves. So just do it. Don't think about it. If I ever thought about the things I'm going to do, even for this, when they ask me to do this, I go, well, are you going to be around on this Wednesday night? I go, well, maybe. I don't know. I got a meeting at 8 p.m. tonight, so yeah, I'll be around. Oh, guess what? We want you to give a talk. I go, okay. Okay, so there goes my Wednesday, But just do it. You don't want to regret not doing something. So just do it. Just do it. Don't even think about it. Just do it. Just dive right in. So again, I always say, what's the worst that could happen to me? What are they going to do? Fire me? So what are they going to do? Fire me for drinking, some, Starbucks coffee? That's not Starbucks coffee. This is my last lecture, right? So I'm going after this, right? So, this is really my last lecture. So, okay, let's all go post-gaming. And really, you are only a young SQL and core once in your life. This is it. It took me a little while to really understand that, but it's very true. You're only young, single, and poor once in your life. Those 3 stars in alignment only once in your life. You're not going to be young every day you get older. You're not going to be single forever. All you have to do is get a dog, and you're not single. You're taking care of that dog. And most of you, especially as engineering majors, once you get out in the real world and start making money, you're going to make way more money than me. Well, maybe not as much as Nick or Tenaire, but you're going to make way more money than me, so you're not going to be poor. You're going to be able to pay off any student loans. You're going to be able to buy a house and do all this other stuff. So now is the only time that you can do stupid things and say, oh, well, I'm just young, single, and poor, and get away with it. But literally, this is the time. So you need to join student orgs. Just be involved with campus, because once you graduate, guess what? You're not going to be able to come back and be a student anymore. You're not going to be able to join student orgs. You're not going to be able to do all the stupid things that you can do as a student, because now they consider you a working class citizen, and now you actually have to be a productive citizen and not, have excuses about things. So I have so many students come in, they go, well, I've been thinking about dropping the class. I go, okay, just do it. Oh, no, I came in here for you to talk me out of it. I go, oh, no, if you're thinking about it, if you talk to other people, you're coming here and talking about it, just do it. You need to do it. So the same thing with anything positive. I've had students come in and they go, so I'm having trouble actually getting started on the programming assignment. Okay, so this one, week 10. Well, they're talking about PA0, 10 weeks ago. And I go, well, let's talk about what major you'd like to be. Oh, no, I want to be a CS major. I go, you're telling me that you can't even get started for PA0? How can you be a CS major? So anything that you're thinking about, and then if you start talking to other people about, oh, well, maybe I should go to Coachella, what do you think? You talk to a roommate or some other person or post on Facebook, oh, I'm thinking about going to Coachella. Just do it. Just do it. You won't regret it. You will regret the things that you don't do. Some of the best concerts I went to was on the spur of the moment, where I just said, okay, just do it. Just do it. Oh, do you want to give a lecture on Wednesday night? Oh, sure. Just do it. Just do it. Okay. And this is how I first started teaching. The very first time I taught a regular university class I was a sysadmin, and I just happened to be in a room where some other faculty behind me were talking about, oh, there's this class that nobody ever wants to teach. Looks like we're going to have to cancel it again. And I just turn around and go, oh, I'll teach it. And they go, you don't even know what class it is. I go, oh, yes, I do. It's the equivalent of CSD 30, and that's what I've been teaching ever since. It's been a win-win situation. Nobody ever wanted to teach it. They always brought people from the outside to teach it. But when I took it, it was taught by somebody whose last name did not have a vowel in it. English was maybe their 7th language. They had a nervous breakdown halfway through, and then somebody else came in. It started off with, about 200 people in the class. About 3 people finished, and I did. And I said to myself, well, if I ever have a chance to teach this class, boy, would I do it differently. And I did, and it's like one of my favorite classes. One of my favorite classes ever. Just make things your own. The man is always back in the 50s, back in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, now it's the 2000-somethings, I don't even know what year it is, but the man is always trying to put us down. UCAB is trying to shut down the Roundtable. Sun God, oh my God, back in the 80s, Sun God was a happening thing. Now they have you crowd like cattle for like just a couple of hours on a Saturday. Oh my God, look what they did to Porter's Pub. They drove them right out of business. Let me tell you, Porter's Pub used to be a happening place. It's dead now. It is dead. How many people know about the Grove Cafe? Oh, just the old timers. It's been closed for over 5 years. Listen, if I was in property management, my head would be cut off. I would be fired a long time ago if I left a piece of property vacant for 5 years. That's ridiculous. Same thing with Shea Cafe. They keep wanting to get the Shea Cafe out, yet some lawyer who doesn't have a job keeps coming in, and now he's got a job, with the Shea Cafe. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. What happened to Lemongrass Chicken? They used to be a kick-ass place vendor out on the Tuesday, or the Tuesday, out there on, yeah, what's that area called? Matthews Quad, thank you, Matthews Quad. Matthews wasn't around when I was. Matthews Quad. Now you go, you used to get like all this chicken and all this stuff. Now they charge, more, and all you get is rice and 2 slivers of chicken. And like a drop of that peanut sauce. Are they worried about people who have peanut allergies? Back in the day, you used to be able to drive through campus. If you needed to go from, say, all the other end of campus over to Revelle, you could get there in 3 minutes, easy, and there are plenty of parking spots. Now you got this thing that they call campus loop. And they won't let you ride your bicycle through campus or anything like that. And streaking. Back in the 70s, now I understand that you guys have the undie run now, and I encourage everyone to do this. But back in the day, we used to streak, take our clothes off, and run across campus. And we get there, and we're high-fiving and having a good time, and then realize, oh shit, our clothes are back there. So let me streak back to get our clothes. Now, if you did that, you'd get tagged with indecent exposure, and you'd be on the sexual predator list. Good luck buying a house in, some Republican, neighborhood, because now you're on the sexual predator list for the rest of your life. Good luck getting a loan. Oh, a sexual predator. Things used to be so much easier. Streaking was so much fun. Except when it was like 0 degrees outside. So there's a lot of things I used to do. So I really believe for the longest time that there were no stupid questions, only stupid answers, until I taught CSE 3 one time. So I do not recommend it, but I actually asked some of the students, that were taking CSE 3 what their major was and what their ambitions were, and a couple of them said that their ambition was to be go into politics. If there was ever a time we should hack into the voting machines and change any votes for that person, let me tell you, that's what it is. So I used to think that you could always catch up on lost sleep. So I'm not totally sure, but it sure is a lot of fun trying. And everyone actually should get sleep every night. Everyone, it's things like, I would always try to catch up on sleep and sleep for 12 hours and think, oh, I'm catching up for all the lost sleep that I had before. But I was told that you can't do the pre-sleep. What is it? You can't bank it. So you can't sleep for like 5 days and say, oh, okay, so now I'm good for the next week. That doesn't work either. And I